We- All right. So, well, first, thank you
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
for being here. Um, I was actually kind of like looking at all the questions that I had and how I would like go about them, but I actually wanted to start with your book right away. So, I was super intrigued by that. Um, I used to hate reading books, and I started getting into it maybe like 5, 6 years ago. So I was just, and then your book started getting a lot of like attention and traction, and I was just wondering what inspired you to write it to start with.
Yeah. So throughout my life, I had shared bits and pieces of my story with other people. Um, and I'm a private person, so I would only share if I felt led to share, if I felt like it was going to make an impact in some way. And as I started to open up to people, they would say to me, "Oh my gosh, you should write a book. Oh my gosh, you should write a book." And so in 2016, I was like, maybe I should write a book. And the purpose of me writing the book was, again, because like I said, I'm a private person, but I felt led, called to share my story to help inspire and encourage others on their journey. So if I could encourage someone, not to give up or to let them know that they're not alone, um, then it felt like that is exactly what I was supposed to do through my book and sharing. So that's how that came about.
That's pretty interesting. Um, I wonder how long did it take you?
It's a really interesting story. So 2016, I started the process the first time.
Mhm.
And I went through a series of, I tried notebooks, I tried a ghostwriter, I tried typing, I tried audio, like I tried everything. And I kind of got writer's block. And I also got hit with like a ton of bricks when I started writing and started processing all the things that I had been through. I had survived so many things by compartmentalizing and by kind of disassociating that these things happened to me. It was like I had to continue to move forward. So when I started unpacking everything, it brought up a lot of things, a lot of emotions, a lot of things that I hadn't really dealt with or processed. Um, so it kind of halted everything. And then through, the pandemic and all the other things, I had decided I wanted to write a book still. Didn't know exactly how I was going to tell my story, but I knew I still wanted to. And then in 2023, I sat down August 10th, 2023, with one of my best friends. And I said, I had started within the last couple of years doing these big ass audacious goals where you take whatever your big goal is, and it needs to be something that's big and crazy. It's like something that you really want to aspire to do, to be. And then you break it down into actionable steps. And then you break it down into um, like little things that you can do each day that will lend itself to completing whatever that big ass task is. So I said I'm going to write my book in 6 months. That was my one of my goals. And so I was like, what do I need to do to make that happen? I had 7 pages at this point. And like I said, I had a variety of different versions of the book because I had started and stopped so many different times.
Mhm.
And I was like, I need to write 1 page every day. So I cut out the first hour of every morning before I did anything. I'd wake up,
Wow.
I would literally write on my laptop for 1 hour. Sometimes it would be 2 hours, but I would dedicate at least an hour. Sometimes it'd be
Wow.
a page, sometimes it'd be 5 pages. And so by March 23rd, 2023, I'm sorry, so it was August 10th, 2022. By March 23rd, 2023, I had a
Mhm.
completed book. I had a published book. Like I had gone through everything. So I went from 7 pages to 179 pages. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
And you did it by yourself.
I did. And I had no idea what I was doing. Like you
Yeah.
think, oh, I just want to tell my story. That's one thing. But then you have to have editors, which I did have an editor. Then you have to figure out how to publish it. Initially, I was going to go with the publisher, but then I ended up going self-publishing. Well, that's a whole nother can of worms. You have to figure out how to format it. I mean, it's a lot. So I didn't even really realize the magnitude of being able to do that in such a short
Mhm.
period. And so I had spoken with I actually did a podcast right after I published, and he was like, "That's a really big deal. Like I know authors that have published many books, and that would
Right.
still be a really big deal to do." So
Wow. Um, that okay. You just you had a goal and you just went and got it. That's wow. It's interesting. I wouldn't have been able to do that. That is for sure. In such a short period of some people it takes probably some people like 5, 6, 7, 10 years to even come up with the book.
yeah, well, it helps when you're talking about your life story. Um, like I said, I just shared bits and pieces throughout my life.
Mhm,
Uh, And when I first started writing the book in 2016, I was writing it in a very different way than how I ended up writing it. And that's why I believe like timing, and I'm a person of faith. So I feel like it was time. It was in like the plans that this is when the book
mhm.
was supposed to be written. So I think miraculous things happen when you follow and trust that you're, doing something you should be doing. And by myself, I couldn't have done it. Like it
Mhm.
was meant to be. So
Okay. Um, I'll circle back on your book because there's one part that I really want to touch on, but I'll come back to it. Um, I just want to know, so like your engagement on social media and how you connect with your audience, um, through like all your platform. How do you like decide? I don't know what to post. And you usually have like a lot of like inspirational quotes. Like, where do you get them from, or do you just wake up and you just like, oh, this is how I feel today, or you go through something and then you're like, this is great for this.
that's a good question. I'd say probably a combination of both. So I try to just be authentically myself, and I don't follow like algorithms or whatever. Like I just am like, okay, this was placed on my heart. It could be something that I experienced, or it could just be something that really resonated with me, and I want to share that with other people. My hope is that through my platform, through social media and other avenues, that I'm able to encourage, inspire other people to keep going and to follow their purpose and passions, and to not be afraid to be their authentic self and to find their authentic self. So I'm just very like, I try to just be raw, like this is what's moving me right now. Let me share this. And I don't share everything, obviously, that comes through my mind. Sometimes I think I should. That could be a very interesting YouTube
Hmm.
um, channel.
Channel. That
Yeah.
would be pretty. Yeah, that would be interesting though. Um, that's really really cool. Now, do you have like a target audience, or are you just trying to inspire people as
Yeah.
a whole?
For me, I think my target audience is any person that's ever felt like they were counted out, or they were told they
Mhm,
couldn't do or be something, or they were held back or held down. I want to encourage people that have and face adversity. Um, like basically, when I'm told I can't do something, it makes me want it even more, and it
mhm,
makes me want to like prove that I can. And so I hope to like for my target audience to be people who were told repeatedly, or you can't do this, or you shouldn't be able to do this, or why do you think you can do this? Because I just feel like we don't fit in boxes, and so
hmm,
I want
that
to
part.
break that ceiling.
Mm,
So that's I feel like my target audience could be male, female, just anybody who's facing some sort of adversity.
that's impressive.
Mm.
Um, now I actually have a question that's like been on my mind. What is resiliency to you? Like, how do you define that?
For me, resiliency is things are going to happen,
Mm.
period. Sometimes, and actually, one of my favorite scriptures, not- and I'm going to have to look up the actual um, verse, but it's essentially talking about getting knocked down. You're hard pressed on every side, um, but not crushed. So it's about getting knocked down, but not giving up. So we're
Mhm.
going to face adversity. We're going to get knocked down. We're going to feel defeated. We're going to fail. Like shit's going to happen. Shit's going to go wrong. It's a matter of you don't let that hold you down or define you. You use that to fuel it, to fuel
Mhm.
whatever it is that you're trying to do or trying to accomplish, and use it as a tool, like a learning. Um, I feel like that's resilience. It's not giving up.
So
Knowing,
that's
oh, sorry.
no, go for it.
I was just going to say, knowing that there's something, there's purpose in everything. So knowing
Mhm.
that there's something, as long as there's air left in your lungs, there's something more for you here.
Right.
So,
Life wasn't meant to be easy, right?
yeah,
So that's kind of like the story of your book, based on what I'm understanding, though. Just reading like your bio, and then also something I didn't even know about you. One of the top 50 women leaders of DC for 2023 and 2024. How that came about?
honestly, I don't know. Someone recommended or voted, nominated me, and I was awarded 2 years in a row, which was 1 year was unexpected, 2 years was definitely
Mhm.
unexpected. Um, but I would say, in my capacity of being a change maker, being in workforce development, that's my, I'm a national director of partnerships for a large workforce organization. And I'm very passionate about economic empowerment, economic mobility, helping to remove barriers, mitigate barriers to help uplift people. Like that is literally through and through my vocation, my work, my life. Um, so that's how that came about.
So, speaking of that, so on top of being that, being a content creator, an influencer, an author, inspiring people, motivational speaker from time to time, how do you manage all of that? How do you balance all of that? And then finding some time for you and just you.
Yeah. So just one day at a time,
Mm.
literally, being very intentional, realizing that there are going to be days that you're going to be like really on point, and feeling like you're on top of the world. Then there are going to be other days where you just feel like you're missing every shot that you're taking. But again, going
Mhm.
back to resilience, you just keep doing it. I think like I'm a planner and I'm very organized, so I look at my month and
Mhm.
really further out than that, and I just plan and organize my time. Um, and I always plan self care. Like that's really important, and I plan for downtime, and making sure that I do things that help to rejuvenate me. Otherwise, I would be burnt out because it is a lot and it can be stressful. But I tend to work better under pressure anyway. Um,
Mm.
I like to push myself. I like to be challenged. So I think it's just about balance, like I said, and just giving myself grace, realizing that I'm human. So, there are days that I'm just like, not today. Today I'm just not
Mm.
anything. And I also realize that I need time. Like I'm an introvert, which surprises
Mhm.
people. So I need time to process and decompress. And like I walk every morning, I work out every morning, or almost every morning I work out, meditate, pray, have quiet
We'll
time.
come back to that.
Yeah, like I feel like all of those things help me to be the best that I can each day.
So, working out, praying, how does that how working out came around, for example, because I see that you work out a lot, and then I've just learned that you pray a lot as well. For someone who like I love working out and fitness, and I know how important it is. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think moving your body is good for everybody, right? Like, but you just have to figure
Hmm.
out what your outlet is. Um, for me, I would say my physical, like me working out, is more based on my mental health. It helps me to feel better, to be my best. It's also about like the discipline of trying to be stronger and trying to just build up capacity and endurance. But I feel better mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally when I work out, when I pray. Um, I think that you have to figure out what your outlet is. Like for some people, it might be art or
Hmm.
music, or and I love music too, but I don't make music. Um, I just like to get up and move, move. Like I said,
Yeah, that's good. Do you like traveling?
yeah, yeah. I love traveling. I like to explore, um,
Mm.
learn about.
Some people are afraid of traveling. So
Yeah,
some people are afraid of traveling, or not traveling, but like the unknown or getting out of their comfort zone. Um, I mean, all around. I lived in places where people have been there for like 30, 40 years, never thought about like, moving out of their town, which is fine.
yeah,
But it's an interesting perspective for me. Every single time I encounter that, I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. I'm the complete opposite, so it's really funny to me. But that's good.
yeah. I am a person that leans into discomfort. So the things that scare you, I believe you should lean into. So, for example, like you referenced traveling,
Mhm,
uh, but I'll give you an example of I'm afraid of heights, and
mhm.
so every time that I have an opportunity to do something related to heights, I do that. Whether it's a sky wheel or one of the tallest buildings or hiking the Grand Canyon, like I'm constantly pushing myself so that I'm not afraid of that. That's really the only way to overcome something. Um, and with traveling, I mean, I love to explore, meet new people, try new things. I love food. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, to stay on that topic, where is the your favorite place like you've been so far?
So my favorite city is probably Chicago.
Mhm.
I just feel
Okay,
like it's always love every time I go there. They have some great food, great shopping. I love the architecture. It's pretty incredible.
that's cool. If
Yeah.
you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
So I want to go everywhere at least once, and I will. So
That is, uh, I've asked this question to like probably like 100 people. No one has ever. That's a really smart answer, actually. No,
thanks. It's true.
I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Life is meant to
interesting.
be lived. You know, the best thing you can give yourself or anyone else is exposure. So the more that you're exposed to, the more that you can believe is possible for yourself, and the more that you can share with others so that they can learn something about themselves too.
I can definitely double in that. Now, um, any upcoming projects for you? Anything that you're excited about that you would like to share, or anything that we can get a sneak peek on? Maybe.
I'm actually I can't share too much, but I'm processing right now a project that I want to do where it's like a series of live interviews talking about interactions between men and women, and getting both sides. So that's something that I'm really considering. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how I want to bring that to the world. So
Podcast would be nice. I would listen to it.
want to do a podcast. I mean, I kind of want to do where it's like live, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can have like live. I mean,
Okay.
it would be like an old radio show where you could have like a live caller, but it would just be
Yeah.
people chiming in or joining the show. So I'm just, like I said, trying to figure out how I want to go about that.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's really, really interesting. And I want to get your book. How can I get it?
So you can go straight to my website, IamTiffanyLynn.com, or you can go to Amazon, Tiffany Lynn, Unstoppable, A Story of Resilience, or you can go to Barnes and Nobles, or you can go to Lulu Bookstore. And then
Okay.
also, oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, when I have speaking engagements, depending on where those, like I have one coming up in Lexington. I'm going to be doing a lecture at University of Kentucky for their CMBI Institute. I'm really excited about this. So I have copies of my book on my person. We'll do that. It's the only event that I have like in the near future that I
In the near future.
yeah.
Okay. 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 So your book is pretty much available now. Like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Now, looking back on your journey, um, how have you grown on the personal level, on the professional level? What lesson have you learned? Um, Anything that you feel like you can share that could help people learn from it?
I could write a book on that itself. I would say one of the biggest lessons is learning to fully love yourself and accept yourself.
Mm,
I think that realizing that the most important relationship you'll have besides your relationship with God is your relationship with yourself. And so
mhm,
really spending the time, I pour into a lot of other people and I have my whole life. So really understanding the importance of pouring into myself, um, giving myself grace, being understanding of I'm not perfect. I don't have it all figured out. I can't do it all, but I'm going to try like hell and I don't need anybody else to tell me what's possible for my life. So I encourage others to kind of keep that same energy. Um, don't let your circumstance, the cards that you've been dealt, the beliefs that have been imposed upon you, whether it's how you grew up or what you were taught or what you've learned, define who you are. You get to define who you are, and you're allowed to change who you are. You can, I feel like if for me, that's definitely I'm on a path of every day I want to be a little bit better, and so
mm.
I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to grow.
Okay, that's really great. Uh, I want to make sure I get all of these right. Do they look good to you?
Yeah, that's me.
Cool, cool, cool. So the whole concept of this, pretty much for me, it's just like dazzling dreamers, I would say. And then the concept for me is when you're coming up to my show, you kind of have to keep the dream going. And what I mean by that is, who do you think would be a great fit for this show? But you have to help me get them on this show.
Okay. So I would want to think about that a little bit.
Hmm.
I have a couple people that come to mind, but I think also maybe knowing more about your audience and what you're trying to do that would probably be helpful.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's really it for me. In terms of like question I had for you, um, I really wanted to kind of like keep it brief and trying to really like ask the right questions for you. It was really interesting actually, like getting to learn like all the little things that you're doing and all the big things you've accomplished as well. Um, like literally an hour before this, I was still like reading a lot of stuff, and then I was trying to like add new things and kind of like reshape the question. So it's pretty um inspiring. It's a good source of motivation for me, for a lot of people, I would say.
Thank you.
So keep doing what you're doing. Really,
Yeah.
it's it's um it's great. It's great to see and you seem happy in what you're doing as well. So that's even better. Um,
Yeah, I
'Cause
sorry, go ahead.
no, I just feel like you love what you're doing, so it's great to see.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to find joy in everything, even in not great things. But I do. I thank God every day, um, because I'm definitely living prayers. So I feel very fortunate and grateful to be able to love the work that I'm doing, and like if I can inspire one person or encourage one person, it makes it worth it. So
I mean, it looks like you're inspiring a lot of people, and
thank you. I hope so.
it's getting bigger and bigger. I mean, that's great for you. It's really good for you. But that's really it. I don't want to take too much of your time. I really appreciate you for this.